Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the English Passage Podcast, where we focus on helping you improve your English, not by memorizing difficult rules, but by listening to real, natural, and meaningful conversations that reflect how people actually speak in everyday life. And today's episode is very special for me because I'm joined by someone who understands exactly how it feels to struggle with starting conversations in English and has slowly built confidence through simple and practical communication. Arav, welcome to the podcast, and I'm really excited to have you here as my co-host today.
Thank you so much, Mira. And I have to say, I'm really happy to be here because this topic, making friends in English, is something I personally found very challenging in the beginning.
And I think many of our listeners will relate to that feeling, where they understand English but still hesitate when it comes to actually speaking to someone new.
Yes, exactly. Because the problem is not always vocabulary or grammar.
It's the fear of starting, right?
Yes, it's that exact moment when you want to say something, but you stop yourself because you're unsure.
Have you ever stood in front of someone thinking about what to say and then said nothing at all?
Oh, so many times. And the worst part is that later, you keep replaying the moment in your mind, thinking about all the things you could have said but didn't.
Yes, and that overthinking can stop you again the next time. Arav, when you look back at those moments, what do you think was really stopping you from speaking? Because I feel like it's not just language, but something deeper.
Honestly, it was a mix of fear and overthinking, because I wanted to say the perfect sentence, and in trying to be perfect, I ended up saying nothing at all.
That's such an important point, because many learners wait for perfection instead of focusing on connection.
Yes, and once I understood that simple, imperfect sentences are actually enough to start a conversation, everything started to feel easier.
And that's exactly what we're going to show today through different real-life situations. Let's imagine that you are entering a classroom for the first time, and everything around you feels unfamiliar, including the people, the environment, and even the way conversations are happening around you.
You slowly look around the room, trying to find a comfortable place to sit, and then you notice a student sitting alone, quietly focusing on their notebook.
At that moment, you feel a small opportunity, but at the same time, your mind starts asking questions like, what should I say? Or what if it becomes awkward?
And those few seconds of hesitation feel much longer, because you are building the courage to speak.
But instead of overthinking too much, you take a small step forward and decide to keep things simple.
You smile slightly and say, "Hi, is this seat free, or is someone already sitting here?"
The student looks up, makes eye contact, and responds in a friendly tone. Yes, it's free. You can sit here.
Now that the conversation has started, you continue naturally by introducing yourself in a slightly longer but still simple sentence.
Hi, I'm Arav. I just joined this class today, so I'm still trying to understand how everything works and how the lessons are usually conducted.
That sentence works beautifully because it not only introduces you, but also gives context, which makes it easier for the other person to respond.
The other student replies, Hi, I'm Ria. Nice to meet you. And the atmosphere already feels more comfortable than before.
And instead of stopping there, which many people do, you continue by asking something simple but meaningful. Which subject do you usually enjoy the most? And is there any subject that you find a bit difficult or confusing?
Or you could say, Do you usually understand the teacher's explanation? Because I felt a little lost today and I'm still catching up.
That kind of honesty often makes the other person open up immediately.
And sometimes both people realize they are equally confused, which actually creates a strong connection.
Now, let's move to a professional environment, where conversations may feel slightly formal at first, but can still become warm, friendly, and comfortable over time if you approach people with the right mindset and the willingness to connect.
You slowly walk toward a colleague, and even though you feel a little nervous inside, you remind yourself to keep your sentence clear, polite, and natural so that it feels easy to respond to.
You say, "Hi, I just joined the team today, and I'm still getting familiar with how everything works here, so I might take a little time to fully understand the process and the workflow."
The colleague smiles in a friendly way and responds, "That's great. Welcome to the team, and don't worry too much, because you'll slowly get used to everything as you spend more time here."
You continue naturally by saying, "I'm really excited to be here, and I'm looking forward to learning from everyone and understanding the work better, even though I might need some help in the beginning."
That kind of sentence makes you sound open, positive, and confident at the same time, which helps the other person feel comfortable talking to you.
Then you ask, "How long have you been working here? And what kind of projects do you usually handle on a daily basis?"
And now the conversation becomes more engaging, more natural, and much more meaningful than just a simple introduction.
And before you even realize it, you're talking about work, daily routines, office culture, and sometimes even weekend plans and personal interests.
Small talk is often underestimated, but it actually plays a very important role in helping people feel comfortable and relaxed before moving into deeper conversations.
Yes, because without small talk, jumping directly into serious or personal topics can sometimes feel unnatural and slightly uncomfortable.
For example, you might say, "How was your weekend, and did you get a chance to relax, spend time with friends or family, or do something interesting?"
And when the person answers, instead of ending the conversation there, you continue by showing genuine interest in what they are saying.
You could say, "That sounds really nice and relaxing. Where did you go? And who did you spend most of your time with?"
And at that point, the conversation naturally becomes longer, more engaging, and much easier to continue without effort. When you are traveling, conversations usually feel more relaxed and natural because people are generally more open to meeting new people and sharing their experiences.
You are sitting on a train or bus, and the person next to you seems approachable, calm, and friendly enough to start a conversation with.
You begin by saying, "Hi, where are you traveling to, and is it for work, vacation, or something special?"
That kind of question allows the other person to share their story in a comfortable and natural way.
Then you follow up with, "That sounds really interesting. Have you been there before? Or is this your first time visiting that place?"
And slowly, without even realizing it, the conversation becomes longer, more enjoyable, and more meaningful. Online conversations require clarity, friendliness, and slightly more complete sentences, because you don't have facial expressions, tone, or body language to support what you are trying to say, which means your words need to carry the full meaning.
Yes, and that's why many people feel confused online, because even a simple message can sound unclear or cold if it is too short or incomplete.
So how can someone make their message feel more natural and friendly instead of robotic or awkward?
I think the key is to add a little context and intention. So instead of writing just one short line, you explain who you are and why you are there.
For example, you can say, "Hi everyone, I'm new here and I'm trying to improve my English by practicing regularly. So I would really appreciate any tips, suggestions, or even small conversations that can help me feel more confident."
That kind of message feels warm and inviting, and it makes people more likely to respond because they understand your purpose clearly.
And what should someone do after they get a reply? Because I think many learners don't know how to continue after that first response.
That's a very important point, because starting is only the first step, and continuing the conversation is where real improvement happens. Instead of just replying with thank you can say something like, "That's really helpful. Thank you so much for your suggestion. And can you also tell me how you personally practice English in your daily life?"
That's such a good follow-up because it keeps the conversation going naturally instead of ending it too quickly.
Yes, and if you keep asking small, genuine questions, the conversation can continue for a long time without feeling forced.
And slowly, those online conversations can turn into real friendships and consistent practice partners.
What do you think about this topic? And which situation do you personally find the most challenging when it comes to starting conversations and making friends in English?
Share your thoughts, experiences, and even your favorite conversation starters in the comments, because your story might inspire someone else to feel more confident.
And don't forget to subscribe to the English Passage podcast.